Welcome to our Sunday reflection. Today we are reflecting on the Gospel of the 16th Sunday of the year. And thank you for being with us. We appreciate you giving your time so that we might share together our reflection on the Sunday Gospel. The reading is from Matthew, verse 24 of chapter 13. We're still within the parabolic discourse, that discourse in which is made up of a group of parables. He put before them another parable. The kingdom of heaven may be compared to someone who sowed good seed in a field. But while everybody was asleep, an enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and then went away. So when the plants came up and bore grain, then the weeds appeared as well. And the slaves of the householder came and said to him, "Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? Where then did these weeds come from?" He answered, "An enemy has done this." The slave said to him, "Then do you want us to go out and gather them?" But he replied, "No, for in gathering the weeds, you would uproot the wheat along with them. Let both of them grow together until the harvest, and at harvest time I will tell the reapers, collect the weeds first and bind them in bundles to be burnt, but gather the wheat into my barn." Jesus put before them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed that someone took and sowed in his field. It is the smallest of all the seeds, but when it has grown, it is the greatest of shrubs, and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and make nests in its branches. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed in with 3 measures of flour, until all of it was leavened. Jesus told the crowd all things in parables. Without a parable he told them nothing. This was to fulfill what had been spoken through the prophet. "I will open my mouth to speak in parables. I will proclaim what has been hidden from the foundation of the world." Then Jesus left the crowds and went into the house. And his disciples approached him, saying, "Explain to us the parable of the weeds and the field." He answered, "The one who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom. The weeds are the children of the evil one. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are angels. Just as the weeds are collected and burned with fire, so it will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will collect out of his kingdom all causes of sin and all evildoers, and they will throw them into the furnace of fire, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Let anyone who has ears listen." I mentioned last week that the parables tend to be about the fact that some received Jesus and some didn't receive Jesus. This is another one here, and this parable only occurs in Matthew. I'll come back to that in a moment. But the issue is the fact that there are good and bad in the kingdom. I feel that this text, being in Matthew, relates also to other texts that are just Matthean. The one that comes to mind is Matthew 25, about the sheep and the goats. This parable has an eschatological dimension. It's all going to be sorted out at the end. But the thing about the present is that you've got this mixture within the community, and that's going to exist until the end. I often take up the image of the big feast where the people that were invited didn't come, and the master of the household sent out to bring in everybody from the highways and the byways, and the emphasis is made both good and evil. In other words, everybody was brought in, so that within the church we do have this good and this evil. And I think we need to be aware of that, because I think a lot of the scandals that have happened in the church, they had so much effect because we didn't believe that there was evil in the church. We sort of thought everybody was good. But in fact, I think what this parable and the other parables that I've mentioned relate to it is the fact that there were good and bad. There's a sorting out that will take place in the end. Another example in Matthew only is the dragnet, the net that they drew in the net and then sorted out the fishes. So I think this is talking about the rejection of Jesus or the acceptance of Jesus, recognising that both exist in the church, and in fact that will all be sorted out on the last day. So I think it's an important thing that's talking about patience and tolerance in the present, because things are going to be sorted out on the last day. Just a mention of the other two parables that I mentioned there, the mustard seed and the leaven, or the yeast. They're examples of the small thing becoming the great thing, right? And each of them there's a sort of an unusual character. The mustard seed isn't the smallest seed, even though there's a big difference between its origins and what it comes to. And the one with the yeast, somebody had worked out that with that much yeast, you'd get enough flour, you'd get enough to feed 100 people. So that, again, it's an exaggeration, which you often find in parables, to bring out the contrast that is what is there. But I mentioned last week, I think part of it is that the smallness there is not only the fact that there were fewer numbers, but that fewer numbers were having difficulty as well. And I think it's giving confidence that, yes, this is the present situation, but in the immediate future, things will grow. And in the first parable, right until the end, everything then will be sorted out.
Just a couple of comments that really struck me. I think I mentioned before, I make bread, and it is 5 cups of flour to 1.5 teaspoons of yeast. So a small amount of yeast does yield an enormous loaf of bread. And so to me, these couple of these parables in particular give me great confidence into plant and sow and do what is right now. You may never see the actual where that action or where that intention lands. You just may not live that long. And part of it, I won't get into the battle between good and bad. Just don't waste your time on it, Virginia, because you may not see that conclusion. Do what you need to do now. And I have seen little children in RE lessons taking the mustard seed to actually see how tiny it is. And we know how huge the tree grows. But you may never see that tree in your lifetime, but you plant the seed anyway. And I suppose, to me, these parables are of great hope for people to do what you need to do it well, but don't expect necessarily to eat the loaf yet or to see that huge tree. I think it's exquisite the way that parable unfolds.
The thought occurs to me that Jesus repeating these kind of parables over and over again, trying to put before us that God's wanting to change the world. And then Jesus speaks in along with that about the kingdom being here now, it's among you. And it just strikes me that there's got to be a way in which we grow to imagine a different way of understanding Jesus' presence in the world. And I love the one about the mustard seed, that tree. You know, the birds of the air all have a place in it. And I think of Pope Francis when he talks about in the church today, when he speaks of synodality, we've got to broaden the tent. There's a place for everyone. Everyone can feel at home in this place. And that's just what's got me thinking.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. We invite you now to look at the text again, just to draw out what you feel God might be saying to you in the text. It's not a question of just repeating what Virginia and John and myself have said, but what is Jesus saying to you in this text? Welcome back. We invite you now to listen to the reading for a second time.
He put before them another parable. The kingdom of heaven may be compared to someone who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was asleep, an enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and then went away. So when the plants came up and bore grain, then the weeds appeared as well. And the slaves of the householder came and said to him, Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? Where then did these weeds come from? He answered, An enemy has done this. The slaves said to him, Then do you want us to go and gather them? But he replied, No, for in gathering the weeds you would uproot the wheat along with them. Let both of them grow together until the harvest. And at harvest time I will tell the reapers, Collect the weeds first and bind them in bundles to be burned, but gather the wheat into my barn. He put before them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed that someone took and sowed in his field. It is the smallest of all the seeds, but when it has grown, it is the greatest of shrubs and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and make nests in its branches. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed in with 3 measures of flour until all of it was leavened. Jesus told the crowd all these things in parables. Without a parable, he told them nothing. This was to fulfill what had been spoken through the prophet. I will open my mouth to speak in parables. I will proclaim what has been hidden from the foundation of the world. Then he left the crowds and went into the house, and his disciples approached him, saying, Explain to us the parable of the weeds of the field. He answered, The one who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom, and the weeds the children of the evil one. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest in the end is the end of the age, and the reapers are angels. Just as the weeds are collected and burnt up for fire, so will it be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will collect out of his kingdom all causes of sin and all evildoers, and they will throw them into the furnace of fire, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Let anyone with ears listen.
Yes, I was struck with the image of the mustard seed and the leaven for the yeast, of the small growing to the large. And I thought what I might do is just look at my own situation, and there's a sense in which you tend to devote all your attention to the large, to the big things that you're doing, and that I might look more carefully to see if there are small things that I could attend to that really are planting a seed that might grow in the future.
I guess I come back to the mustard seed and a place for everyone, and there's been mention of the good and the bad, being able to coexist until the appropriate time. And I'm thinking of my likes and my dislikes, and how can I make a place in the midst of my likes to be inclusive of the dislikes.
And for me, it's the image of the mustard seed. So for me, it's keep reminding myself not to wait to see the big tree, but to continually have the energy into planting small seeds. Because I do have that opportunity, but sometimes I'm disheartened by the size of the trees.
Yeah.
So it's, be gentle of heart, Virginia. Give it a lifetime.
I know. And I think when we think about the future, it's probably the seeds planted now that will help the future, rather than the big trees that may have done their purpose already.
And I'll just say, when you reach a certain age, I think I am reaping the benefits of those who planted before me,
that's right,
who actually have never met. We've never met.
No.
And that's Paul, isn't it?
Yes.
Paul planted, Apollos watered, and somebody else reaps the benefit.
Yeah. We invite you now to draw on something practical from the text, so that you might take it to heart, and not only leave it in your heart, but express it in your life as well. So something practical that you can apply. The Lord said, "Without me you can do nothing." And in our journey to God, which is a supernatural journey, we need the Lord. So pause now and ask the Lord for the grace that we need, for the strength and courage to apply what we have chosen. Thank you for being with us. We do appreciate you giving the time to share with us your reflections and our reflections on the Scriptures. We hope that you will come again next week, and we invite you to ask others to join and subscribe to us, because it encourages us, and we hope that what we're doing is reaching out and encouraging a lot of other people as well. So we conclude now by reading from the Gospel of the 16th Sunday of Year A.
Show favour, O Lord, to your servants, and mercifully increase the gifts of your grace, that made fervent in hope, faith and charity, they may be ever watchful in keeping your commands, through Christ our Lord.